Barcelona's biggest star signing this summer. Laporta's made his choice, and negotiations are already underway. Al-Nassr and Cristiano Ronaldo are on the hunt, looking to steal a key player from Real Madrid. Could they actually pull it off? Meanwhile, Arsenal are eyeing a brand new winger. Is Noni Madueke already in London? And Jadon Sancho, he could be heading to Serie A for a fresh start. All that and loads more in today's transfer roundup. But before we dive in, you know the drill. The goal is 400 likes under this video. Smash that button, and tomorrow we go again. All done. Right then, let's jump into the latest transfer rumours. Cristiano Ronaldo is now doing transfer business like he's playing FUT career mode on nightmare difficulty. The man's taken time out from rinsing defenders in the Saudi Pro League to personally demand a blockbuster move. He wants Rodrygo at Al-Nassr. Not consider him. Not scout and assess. He literally went to the board and said in no uncertain terms, "I want that guy." Cue the oil money engines revving up. Rodrygo, by the way, isn't some bench warmer from the Spanish second division. He's been rocking Real Madrid's white shirt for 6 seasons, netting 68 goals in 269 outings. Not shabby at all. But enter Xabi Alonso, Madrid's new boss, and suddenly Rodrygo's stuck on the sidelines like an unused coffee mug. 1 start in 5 matches. He's got fewer minutes than a broken stopwatch. Then Cristiano shows up, winking with that classic "I've got $1 billion offer" smirk. Sky Sports says Al-Nassr have contacted Rodrygo's camp, and they aren't mucking about. They're ready to roll out the divine scroll, a blank check. That's right. One of those, you insert the number, we'll nod and write it kind of checks. Imagine turning up to your agent saying, "How's 50 million euros a year sound?" And Al-Nassr reply, "Add a few more zeros if it helps you sleep better." Meanwhile, Rodrygo isn't exactly packing his bags and charging his passport. According to Sacha Tavolieri, he's made it crystal clear. If he leaves Madrid, he wants Premier League turf under his boots. And guess who's leading the chase? Arsenal, flying out of the shadows, reportedly ready to drop a cool 90 million euros to nab him. Diario AS says Real Madrid aren't blocking the exit. As long as the price tag's met, no discounts, no haggling, Florentino Perez deals in big numbers or not at all. So now we've got 3 options: Saudi money with Ronaldo, the Premier League spotlight with Arsenal, or staying put and praying Alonso rediscovers his love for Brazilian flair. Personally, if Rodrygo goes to Saudi at 24, someone needs to stage an intervention. Arsenal is the move. Champions League nights, a young squad, a system crying out for his energy. He could be massive. Yet the Saudis aren't backing down. Tavolieri says Al-Nassr are turning the intensity up, promising a deal so irresistible it might make even Mikel Arteta sweat. It's starting to feel less like a transfer race and more like a war of ideologies, passion and prestige versus petrodollar power. So let's talk real. What would you do if you were Rodrygo? Collect the gold or chase the game? Let me know below. But just know this: one false move and his career path could go supernova or sink without a trace. Bookmark this chaos. You know those movies where the quiet guy suddenly pulls out a bazooka? That's Newcastle right now. The Magpies have had enough of tiptoeing around the big boys. They've just dropped a meaty, table-shaking bid on the Premier League poker game. Their target? Anthony Elanga. And this is no window shopping stroll. This is a full-throttle, wallet-swinging pursuit. Per David Ornstein at The Athletic, Newcastle first tested the waters with £45 million. Nottingham Forest tilted an eyebrow and said, "No chance." Newcastle didn't flinch, came back with over £50 million plus add-ons, no blinking, just ambition, straight up. Now pause for a second and let that sink in. This is a bloke Man United casually sold off 2 seasons ago, just £15 million the fee back then. Forest scooped a bargain, nurtured him, and bingo, every single league game last season, 6 goals, and, here's the kicker, 11 assists. But forget the stats for a moment. Elanga's game is built for speed, and Newcastle, their whole system under Eddie Howe, might as well be labelled Fast and Furious St James's Drift. Vertical football, counter-attacks that would make Amorim weep. And Elanga? That lad isn't just quick, he's calculated chaos. Sharp movement, pressing like a madman, defensive work rate that actually makes sense. He's not your average head-down sprinter. He's got vision, balance, purpose. And this deal, it's football capitalism done right. Forest stand to turn £15 million into potentially over £50 million, not to mention United sitting back and watching the profit clock tick, thanks to the sell-on clause snuck into Elanga's original exit deal. Cheeky little check, headed to Old Trafford soon. But of course, this isn't risk-free. Elanga's breakout season was just one. Can he thrive in a team aiming for top 4 and Champions League football? Is he robust enough to deal with the pressure? Or has his price just been inflated in the stock market of hype? Newcastle, though, aren't playing scared. This isn't £50 million on reputation. It's £50 million on trajectory. Young, proven-ish, positionally ideal. Elanga ticks nearly every major box. So here's the fork in the road. Is this a wildly clever move that puts Newcastle ahead of the curve? Or nostalgic madness for a player whose ceiling might actually look a lot like the roof he's already hit? Big money, big gamble, but potentially big rewards. Watch this space. You want to know what humiliation smells like? Step into Barcelona HQ right now. The scent of defeat is practically pouring out of the vents. Nico Williams, the man they'd practically built their whole left flank around for next season, gave them not just a no, but a footballing restraining order. Signed a 10-year contract with Athletic Bilbao. 10, like testimonial length commitment. That's not just turning down a move, that's planting a Basque flag and saying, Barca who? And with that slap across the transfer committee's face, the scramble begins. Cue papers flying, scouts running, agents smiling. Out of the desperation drawer, 2 names surface. Luis Diaz and Marcus Rashford. Same position, wildly different energy. Now Diaz you can at least put in the dream bracket. 17 goals and 8 assists last season. Fast, hard-working, defends like someone insulted his family. Problem is, he's also Liverpool's favourite son, and they've pinned an €80 million ransom note to his forehead. That's luxury money. Bugatti showroom money, while Barca are digging through old trousers hoping to find forgotten euros. So, enter Rashford, and things get dark. This isn't option B. This is, we're lost in the woods and out of flares. His form's collapsed like a soggy deck chair. United have all but ghosted him, loaned to Villa, who couldn't even be bothered to make it permanent for £46 million. The red shirt might fit him, but Amorim made it clear, it's not yours anymore. So why is he on Barca's notebook? Because he's affordable. Because his market value's in free fall. Because sometimes clubs get so desperate they hope broken things still work. And Rashford? He might be the only attacker a club like Barca can just about talk into joining, who'll bring a bit of star glow without blowing the budget. Make no mistake, this isn't about technical fit. This is an emotional Hail Mary. Rashford sells shirts, makes headlines, might just rediscover a glimpse of the guy who once haunted defenders for fun. It's an SOS move, and that's the conversation now. Do you swing for it, or admit the rebuild is deeper than expected? Because this could be a redemption arc, or a cautionary tale in 5 expensive chapters. What say you, Culés? Gamble or fold? Something wicked, or wildly clever, is brewing in Turin, and it involves a name you probably haven't heard in a while without cringing slightly, Jadon Sancho. Yes, that's Sancho, the £73 million ex-Wonder Kid who's bounced between feuds, false starts, and forgettable Bundesliga cameos. Juventus are lining up what may honestly be one of the smartest transfer swindles in memory, and it all starts with cutting Dusan Vlahovic loose. You know the script by now. Vlahovic is raking in €12 million a year. But raise your hand if you think he's actually playing like a €12 million a year striker. Thought so. So, Juve, cold-blooded as ever, switched to the 2-for-1 model. Out goes Dusan, wage and all. In come Jonathan David and Sancho, both for roughly the same combined salary. That's right, Sancho's coming in on the value menu. At least, that's the pitch. But get this, Manchester United have had enough of the Sancho soap opera. They're so done, they're offering him at £25 million and in instalments. Like a used car that still smells vaguely like Wembley losses and Dortmund dribbles. Don't even need a CV, just pay in bits, and he's yours. Except here comes the drama, Sancho wants €8 million net. Juventus respond with, pipe down, you're not that famous anymore. They cap at €6 to €7 million, same bracket as David. Negotiations in limbo again. Remember Chelsea? They were ready to sign him. Then he stalled over wages. They said, forget it, paid United a £5 million kill fee just to avoid his salary demands. That's how chaotic his reputation has become. Juventus know the risks. But they also know the potential. This is a player who, if he switches on, could light up Serie A. David and Sancho together could set fire to defences from Milan to Monza. But the flip side, if he pulls the same stunts he did in Manchester, Juve could be sitting on a PR landmine. So which version do they get? The electrifying prodigy who made Bundesliga nights his playground? Or the grumpy ghost of Carrington stuck in his own head? Massive gamble. But one Tudor appears ready to roll the dice on. Chelsea might be about to rob Arsenal. And not at gunpoint, no, with grins, handshakes and transfer paperwork. It's Noni Madueke who's at the centre of this little masterstroke, and credit where it's due, whoever's running outbound transfers at Stamford Bridge deserves both a raise and their own reality show. Let's rewind. Chelsea spent £28.5 million to pluck Madueke from PSV. Reasonable investment for a raw talent. 2 years go by, he works hard. 16 goal contributions last season across competitions. Perfectly okay. A squad option with potential, sure. But behind the scenes, he's quietly labelled as expendable. Useful, but not transformative. The lad's not turning title races. He's turning up when others are rested. Then Arsenal show up, tripping over their own panic. Saka's overplayed, depth's thin, pre-season worries kicking in. So they spot Madueke and think, that's our man. They don't just sniff around. They lock in a 5-year deal with the player, per Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea, they're sipping espresso laughing. No aggressive sales pitch required. Arsenal just show up with a cheque in hand. Chelsea lean back and say, yeah, we're open. Name a number. Because any number is profit if you no longer value the player. Wages gone, squad space opened, cash in the bank. Meanwhile, Arsenal fans are out here tweeting about versatility and backup quality. Backup for 30 million plus? That's not depth, that's desperation. Sure, Madueke can play both flanks, but so can a utility knife. Doesn't mean you build your kitchen around it. And this whole healthy relationship between clubs spiel? Of course the relationship's lovely. Wouldn't you be friendly if your rival happily took away players you're trying to quietly offload? So, here's the actual question Arsenal fans need to ask. Are you being clever? Or sold a dream? Because Chelsea just offloaded your problem to you, and cashed in. Premier League elite, indeed. Remember João Felix? Yeah, that lad, who was once dubbed the next Ronaldo. Then he went, wow, 126 million euros for me? All right, let's go. And off he flew to Atletico Madrid. That's when the great European tour began. Where could I actually start playing football? First stop, Chelsea. Well, stop is a strong word. You know when you sign someone on EAFC, stick them at cam and they just vanish on the pitch? That was Felix at Chelsea. Oi lads, where's João again? Over there, posting another selfie on Instagram. Then came the revival attempt in Milan. Although calling it a revival is generous, it was more of a slow, confused stroll than a comeback. In the end, Milan basically said, cheers, mate. That was interesting, but we'll go look for someone who can actually see the ball. And now, after all those little footballing getaways, Felix goes, I want to go home. Benfica is my home. A guy under contract till 2031 with a body bought for £45 million, a tour that included 20 games and 7 goals. And now he reckons, yeah, all right, time to go home. A bit of a didn't work out, thanks for having me moment. But hey, maybe that was the plan all along. You know, tour around Europe, collect a bit of failure magic, and then boom, reborn at Benfica. He was a wonder kid there after all. Young, sharp, unburdened by all the flops. João Felix is basically that mate who tried every job ever, then moved back in with mum and dad saying, I've grown, I know what I want now. Some dumplings and a bit of stability.